3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. Ignacy Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 199. Unbelievable. And we are recording it on June 19th, 2021. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and Tom Vassell needs me. That's all I can say. He needs me.
No details?
No, he needs me. The man, he needs help. He needs me. True. So, Ignacy, you have to record in like 45 minutes. In and out. Got to be done. Why is that? Please explain to our listeners why you're going to rush me through this episode.
Because right now in Europe, there is the biggest soccer/football event that happens every 2 years. It's called the Euro Cup. And today we have 3 matches. I'm already sacrificing one of these matches that is happening right now, and I'm not watching. I just checked the news. It says the champions of the world, the France, is losing against Hungary. So there's a huge event happening, and I'm not watching, but I'm talking about the board games with you, for you and our listeners. I'm amazing.
Number one, there's these things called video recorders that you can record it and watch it later. That's number one. Number two, board gaming. Our fans, much more important than stupid sports. Oh,
that's why I'm here. Even though there is like super interesting event happening right now.
All right, we will move through this so that Ignacy can get back to his football or soccer, as we dumb Americans call it. So, by the way, everybody, remember, we are running our contest for our 200th episode, which is the next episode after this one. So stay tuned to the event deck. Find out how you can join it and win games. It's going to be great. You probably know about it already if you're a listener, but stay tuned, of course, and get involved again. Ignacy, what's happening over at Portal Games?
You started the topic of football, so I need to follow up on that. Our game found page for the 11 Football Manager game is alive. We started last Friday. We already have more than 3,000 followers who subscribe to the page and want to know more. For the whole Euro, 4 weeks, I'm a blogger, and along with the designer of the game 11, Thomas Jansen, every single day we comment on matches that happened the previous day, and along with that we spoil fragments of the game. So we talk about what happened in the match and then how the game, takes this element of the football into the rules. So very interesting blogging time for me, lots of work, every day new article. But we are feeling like being reporters, like literally watching these matches, making some notes, and then making the report. So fun time. You can check it out on GameFound. This is the same page where we started the Robinson Crusoe campaign. 11 Football Manager games. So this is what's happening. Please subscribe. Yes.
About half of that is interesting to me. The part where you're talking about the game, the part you're talking about the matches, I don't care about. But I'm sure people care. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yesterday, Thomas wrote a very interesting article about the genesis of the word soccer and the word of football, discussing the whole controversy that in America you call the sport soccer. So it was also interesting for all of you who are interested in the language. So yes, we try to entertain the fans, and it's a really interesting blog.
Cool.
So this was happening. Football 11 game found. Brag of the week, very important part of the segment every single week. Broken Meeple, one of the biggest reviewers in UK, played and finished Vienna Connection, my spy game, and rated it 9 out of 10. He said he likes it even more than the base game of Detective. I'm very proud, very happy. And indeed, we see more and more people finishing the campaign, because the game was released like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So people have the time to finish the whole campaign, and more testimonials are published. And I appreciate every of them. Thank you for that. And so far, only good things people are saying. So it makes me and my team very, very proud. Cool. Pre-orders and 3 dates. So we announced last week that on July 12th, the pre-orders for Dune will start. The Dune, our next storytelling game about the Dune, Arrakis, and all this jazz. As with many pre-orders from Portal Games, there will be a ton of events. There will be a game designer journal, there will be a goodies, there will be surprises, bonuses. So on July 12th, check out our page, and you can already learn about about the game, come on, about the game at Dune.portalgames.pl, obviously. And what's happening at HQ? We are preparing the whole campaign for the Dune pre-order. So lots of work, all the assets, all the descriptions of the additional items, all the game designer journals. So things are happening. But Dune is the most release of the year for us. So the whole team is motivated. Video of the week from our side, I recorded a video about The Witcher, discussing all the different tiny bits, tiny fragments that you might not know about The Witcher. This is a strong, huge IP known from the Netflix series, known from the video game, but I discussed more of the small details that happened here in Poland. Maybe not many fans from not Poland knew about them. And so check out my video about 5 facts about The Witcher. So this is what's happening. I'm trying to watch matches, trying to report on matches, trying to run 11 campaign, preparing for Dune campaign. Busy time. So tell me, what will happen when I will finally get retired?
When you're finally retired, you talk about other people's games and things like that. So in my news of the week, I'm going to give another plug to the game that I consulted on, Pisces, a game of fishery conservation. It's on Kickstarter right now, and you'll have about 1 week more after you hear this to go check it out and to back it. And I can't talk highly enough about the designers, Dante and his brother Matthew. They're both scientists. Their goal is to educate people and, of course, to make great games. And this game really does hit on both of those notes. In the same way that Terraforming Mars gives you that real hard science in a great game, this is doing the same thing. So check out Pisces on Kickstarter now, running through about July 1st. So you have about another week from the time you hear this. Really good looking game. Oh, and it's right back there. You can see it sort of right back there. If you're watching it on YouTube, watching us on YouTube, I have it behind me right now. The Bonacore versus Vassal Diet Challenge is on. I don't know, Ignacy, after being in Las Vegas for almost a week and you know,
I hear you.
Retired is tough to not want to eat and have a good time. So I'm getting worried. But with that challenge, I'm also, of course, in the Bonacore Brothers Step Challenge, 10,000 steps a day, and I'm killing it every day. I'm out there walking. So who knows? I'm getting thinner. I'm about 10 pounds down. Then again, I've been about 10 pounds down for 2 weeks, so I'm not moving fast enough. So hopefully I can beat Tom.
All our listeners and me are sending you support. You will win.
And and to do that, please send Tom some cookies and some donuts and things like that, and that will help me quite a bit. The more you send to him, the better. Great. The Podfather trips of the week, and furthermore, I just mentioned I was in Las Vegas. It was a fantastic trip. So not only the usual Las Vegas things of gambling, drinking, and carousing, great food, just a lot of fun. I got to do some game-related stuff. I went to Meepleville. I mentioned this on the last podcast. It's a great game store owned by Tim Metivier, who runs Dice Tower West as well. Awesome guy, great store. Check that out. I got to post a video. I still haven't done that to show how cool his store is. It's really, really well done. I had lunch with Stefan Broussard, the Gamma president and COO of Yellow. He happened to be in town. So we got together and had lunch one day. That was wonderful. Had some drinks with local gamers / a designer, John and Stephanie. Just fun. We spent an hour just talking about the industry and gaming and all kinds of great stuff. I missed having a lunch or a dinner or something, drinks with John Zinzer, the CEO of AEG. He lives in Vegas now. Would have been great to see him, but he had family in town. So shout out to John. I do miss him a lot as well. So it was a great trip for the Vegas-y kind of stuff and a great trip for gaming kind of stuff. Very, very cool. My next trip is going to CoreyCon. We're calling it a convention. It's just a house con. Corey Thompson out in Napa Valley is having a few people out there. Can't wait to do that. That's in the middle of July. And I'm going to combine that with the Podfather Food and Wine Tour, which Paula and I will go around Napa Valley and eat and drink our way. And that's going to be after the diet challenge is over. So therefore, I don't care about the diet at that point. So It's going to be a lot of fun. On the remodeling status, as people can see who are looking at me, this is not my home. Ignacy's already mentioned it. I am still at my brother's house, about 6 miles away. And while we could go back, it's a lot more comfortable here since he's not even in town anyway, and because we don't have a kitchen yet. Back in the house, it's still a little messy. They're still working, and they will be for a while. The flooring tiles are done. The feature wall tile is done. The baseboard moldings are done. The electrical rough-ins are done. The painting is done. The bathroom is in progress. And the next big part is the kitchen, right? That's the part that really is huge. I mean, all new cabinets and the island, and that's kind of almost the biggest part. The feature of the entire house is, and the way the house is even laid out, it's kind of centered around the kitchen. So really looking forward to seeing how that turns out. And that will be starting this week. So it's a very exciting point in the project. We will probably stay here through the end of that and then move back in right toward the end, probably. That's about it. Conventions, we've been talking about them. Gen Con is next. The real big convention. So I can't wait for that coming in September. Ignacy, the event deck. So here we go for our 200th episode contest. Remember, we're going to run this. I think, Ignacy, it's a good idea. Maybe we run this through the next episode so that we give people the time after hearing that episode to still enter the contest.
Okay.
When we drop 101, then we'll end the contest. And how do you get into the contest? You get one entry if you put a good question in our Ask Us a Question thread on our guild on Board Game Geek. You get a second entry if we record a video or an audio clip and you post it on either Twitter or Facebook using hashtag Board Games Insider. And then we'll draw for 2 games, one game for each person that will win. From the Portal Games catalog, you get to choose a game. So very exciting. I'm really hope we get lots and lots of entries, lots of people trying to help us out, of course, to help you out to make a better podcast. Meanwhile, BGG-Con is happening. They've made the official announcement that they're going ahead with it, which is wonderful. We kind of assumed they would, right? Because we have all the other ones coming up before, and they'll have the, and they'll know how to run a safe convention and all. So it's definitely happening. It's coming back to the same hotel in the middle of Dallas, the Hyatt Regency Dallas, November 17th to 21st. To me, one of the best conventions of the year. I absolutely will be going to this one. It's a great, laid back, basically all gaming all the time type of convention.
I absolutely agree. I love BGG-Con, and this probably will be the first US con for me. If everything works out with all these vaccine passport or whatever, flying borders, etc., etc., I'm dedicated to come to BGG-Con and finally meet with all the people I miss so much. And so Gen Con not yet for me, but BGG-Con, this is my plan with Mary to finally get back to you guys and meet you. So yes, BGG-Con, super excited. I hope I will make it. If not, I strongly recommend you guys pay attention to this convention. It's amazing and is one of the best ways to just play games all day long, hang out, have fun, great food. I love it.
I did not know you were going to be going. That is awesome news right there. Very cool. Glad to hear that. So on very interesting news for U.S. production of board games, LudoFact USA, a division of LudoFact Germany, is planning an $11 million expansion at its Indiana facility, where Terraforming Mars has been printed in the past. We were the first major game that they did back when they opened the Indiana facility. The company is going to be spending $11 million to lease and upgrade machinery and equipment at its 65,500 square foot facility in Lafayette, which is very close to Indianapolis. It's right outside, like a half hour. Their upgrades will increase production and support the company's growing U.S. base, and 900 workers worldwide are employed by LudoFact. And without anything more than than my visual evidence and my close association with LudoFact, I believe that they are the single biggest producer of board games in the world. Certainly for hobby games, they are, because they are used extensively by the European publishers, and of course, Stronghold used them extensively, for a long time as well. So this is very good news for U.S. publishers and the whole U.S. manufacturing of games.
Yeah, and we see also some shifts in Europe. I don't want to share too much news because I'm not sure what's official, what I just know, from being part of the industry. So just being very, very cautious. But there is some moves with big publishers, aka Asmodee, moving some production from China to Europe, making lots of trouble here in Europe. There is some information that some of the publishers are raising and sharing publicly information on how shipping costs from China to US are just going up and up and up every week, every month. And the numbers for shipping one container right now are insane. I'm even considering after Europe probably maybe recording with Steven a special episode discussing this number to show our listeners like strict data how much it was to ship a container of games from China last year and how much it is today, because it's going crazy and there is more and more talk MSRP of the games will go up. Like there is no way publishers can keep the same price with everything going up. Prices of the paper, prices of the shipping, crazy things are happening. So guys, be careful. Don't be surprised if games will get more expensive in upcoming months. And seeing LudoFact investing in a facility in America, it's very good because in China, crazy things are happening these days.
Yeah, completely right. And I have obviously not been right there on the cost of these containers coming across. I know what they were. I heard they went up. For someone like Asmodee to decide they're going to move some stuff onshore, in Europe, that's a huge move because they get these huge, of course, breaks on prices because they're ordering hundreds of thousands of games at a clip. So if they see that all of a sudden the prices not only maybe at the factories are getting close, but also then they have like no shipping cost versus this incredibly increasing shipping cost, that's going to make a very big difference to their bottom line. We're going to watch this one closely. So there's a big change in the exhibitor list for Gen Con 2021. Ignacy, what do you mean by a big change? I mean, certainly we've got lots and lots of good exhibitors.
This is a perfect example of Slavic reading the sentence and American way of reading the sentence. So the American way of saying this sentence is we have a great news. We have 81 or 83, I don't remember, more than 80 new publishers, exhibitors in the area. And it sounds like a positive news. Reading it in Slavic way, that means there's a ton of exhibitors who decided to not go to the Gen Con, and that's why there's a space for the new exhibitors. So, as always, I'm looking on the not bright way of the news.
Oh my God.
And the question arises: what happens next year when these new exhibitors would like to follow up and be there again? But then Asmodee says, no, we are fine. We are getting back to Gen Con, and what Gen Con will do then? So lots of interesting questions, but let Steven tell this in a more bright way.
You are so depressing. No, but you're also a realist, and I give this like yay, and then you're like, well, listen, you got to do it. You got to think about it like this. You're right. But if you think about the ones that pulled out, right? The Asmodees, the Paizos, the maybe even Ultra Pro.
Yellow Lucky Duck Games, Upper Deck.
Yeah. I think Yellow might be going.
I saw them. Maybe they changed the decision. I saw the news that Yellow Lucky Duck Games, Upper Deck, Paizo, and of course Asmodee.
Nope, Yellow is going, and that's why when you said Yellow, I'm like, wait a minute. I think Stefan told me they changed their decision, so they're going.
Okay, they changed, of course.
They're on the list. That's a good thing. So yes, so we have those big guys leaving, but those big guys had huge footprints on the floor, right? I mean, they were so big that all of the guys we just mentioned could be a quarter, maybe even more of the entire space, probably more. That freed up space that Gen Con can sell.
The Pies upper deck and the Asmodee is like 1/3 of the the.
Let's call it a third. Easily, they can have 80 new publishers show up. I agree, and I think that's great, right? So these are all smaller publishers.
Here we agree, yes.
Smaller publishers. Now they get their shot to do a great show, and hopefully rise above the noise, right? We always want to rise above the noise, get a new release and get it big, get a hit, and get the buzz going, not to mention get some sales out of Gen Con attendees. Next year, I mean, the thing that you're saying is that next year they want to come back, the big guys. What's going to happen? We don't know. Certainly, you would hope that Gen Con allows those other publishers to continue coming.
If you may say, because it was for me always very confusing, and Chevy and Luke were dealing with that, but you know this very well. If you can explain in very simple words the whole Gen Con points system, when you get the points for exhibiting 1 year, and then you have the chance to get for the next year. It was always for me like too complicated rules. But it's something like that, right? That you're gathering the points to have a chance to have a booth in a better space, etc., correct?
Yeah. Yes. The longer you have been exhibiting, the more space you have been taking up, the more money you spend in advertising, you get points for all these things. And then the list of exhibitors, you each have a point value, and then they get to then take up space and they get to be allocated things based on their points. It is extremely confusing. So I don't know what's going to happen. Like, okay, well, we took a year off. So, I mean, Asmodee, we took a year off. I don't know how their points work. Do they lose them? I doubt it. I'm sure that Gen Con's going to let them back in, but are they going to let them back in the same way with exactly the same footprints? Then, of course, some people.
These new 80 guys are just getting these points this year, correct? So this is like very interesting gamification.
Right. It's a little gamification thing, but certainly for these new people, it's great that they have the chance, right? And that's kind of a good thing. So I'm rooting for them. Ignacy's telling me we got to move on because, football. So let's get to strategy and tactics. All right. We have a question from Bjorn Solin. He's at Bjorn Solin on Board Game Geek. If indie in Indie Game Studios stands for independent, what does that really mean? You are no longer a small publisher. I would say a medium-sized one. You cooperate with other publishers, especially in Germany. So what are you independent from? Bjorn, Indie Boards and Cards and Indie Game Studios is an independent publisher. We are not affiliated with any major brand. They are not. I always use the we, but they are not affiliated with any other major brand. Sure, they are medium-sized publishers, but they're independent of any publicly traded company or any other major brand out there. You can argue to your heart's content what indie really means. And I've actually even seen people like do this online. And most people say like, really? I mean, is it really important to start picking at people's names? I don't think it is. Certainly when Indie Boards and Cards started, they were a one-man operation. When Stronghold Games started, they were a one-man person. And they grew the company. So you don't just change your name anyway, right? When you do that, you're still an independent studio or group of studios, and that's what's important. Martin Gregerson, who's at MH Gregerson, questions for the podcast. I started listening to the podcast about 4 months ago. This was a long time ago that you wrote this, though, but have been listening to older episodes from the last year, approximately, as well. I like the dynamic between you two guys. It's a great show. Well, thank you. I have some questions. 1. How many days do you spend away from home each year? Rough estimate, traveling to conventions. Ignacy, what's your approximate number of days?
I did the math in 2017 and 2018 because it was crazy. And I spend only in America, so we are not counting European conventions, but only in America I spend more than 2 months of a year. So this is like more than 2 months sitting in the hotels, sitting in planes, being away from home and family. It was a lot of work, super exhausting. That's why the next year I said that I'm taking a break from traveling. It paid off, both with the success of the first Martians and Detective. So the hype was there. I was visiting so many conventions promoting the game, but it was very tough for me, as our listeners know. I hate travels. I'm afraid of planes. It was like a lot of sacrifice to spend 2 months in America just to promote the brand. But yes, that's how I promote the games.
At the height, I used to say that I'm away like 1/4 of the year, which is an astonishing amount of time. Obviously, not these days. And I'm going to, I mean, I'm going to continue to travel almost that much, but it'll be a combination of game conventions for personal reasons as well as vacationing. So, but back in the day, I used to say like 90 days, which is a lot of time in hotels and things like that. Approximately how many new games did you play last year? Not counting your own games, and not a game you looked into publishing or to distribute. How many games approximately new to you did you play?
I can say exactly, because I'm using the app that is called BG Stats. I strongly recommend to download it. It's amazing. And BG Stats says that the last year I discovered 82 new games. So 82 new
Wow.
games in 2019, 2020. So yes, BG Stats answered this question.
That's amazing. I do not use those, the PGG stats. I would say closer to 2 dozen, maybe, in that area. I like to play new
Dozen is
games.
12?
A dozen is so. Yeah, sorry. Approximately 20 to 30, in 20 to 30 games, I would take are brand new to me. It's basically every time I go to a friend's house, we almost, right, or see Tom or whatever the case may be, we're playing something new. So it probably is close to 30 per year. Like everything behind me, I'm going to be playing these things soon. Or not Terraforming Mars behind me. That's the big box. But everything else, I'll be playing pretty soon. So there's a whole bunch of new games. Do you miss the time when board games were just a hobby? Just a hobby for you. Do you miss that, Ignacy?
I mean, I will not complain on the life I'm having right now. So absolutely, I will not say I miss it. I miss the excitement of discovering something new. When these games were new for me, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" Now I'm not having so many surprises anymore. 2 or 3 years ago, I went super strong into comic books hobby, to have this excitement again and be surprised with, oh my God, this comic, I never heard about this, and I'm catching up with my all the comics that I need to read. So yes, I'm missing the excitement of the early days of discovering this hobby. But besides that, no, I love how it is. So many games, so many people, friends, upcoming conventions. So I'm just missing the excitement of the early days.
And Martin, guess what? It is just a hobby for me now. Well, plus the media stuff. So I'm back to not having to stress out about making deadlines and things. So I don't miss it not being a hobby because it now is a hobby. And Martin also says Ignacy, his favorite game or one of his top 2 games is Robinson Crusoe, which is
Thank
just
you.
amazing. Piotr Dolny, who is at Niddle Doppel, how do you recruit translators for your games? Are they professional translators or gamers who know foreign languages? How do you check their work to avoid mistakes in translation?
So for Polish editions of the games, so for example, I'm doing a Blood Rage in Poland. I need to translate from English to Polish. How I get translator? It's not that easy. And to be honest, and it was quite famous in Poland when I said it too openly, let's say. I fired a couple of translators after we had some mistakes in our games released in Poland, and I got really frustrated. Because you need to looking for the person who is translator, so he can translate, and he is a gamer, because translating a rule book is so much more difficult task than translating a novel, or maybe I should not say difficult, but different. Like you need to focus on every single word, every single dot, every single letter matters. because you are translating rules. And we had in Poland for our Polish edition of the games couple of embarrassing mistakes because translator didn't feel the rules of the game. And now we have this procedure that when translator is translating the game, we send them a sample of the game. So he needs to play the game, he needs to understand the flow of the game, and then he starts translation. So it's very complex thing. You would not believe how much it is to finally find a guy or a woman who can do this. Very difficult.
It truly is. We've always used fans, not professional translators too, but we mostly use the other publisher to do the translation, right? We're going to grab English from them, and they're already fluent in English, and they do the translation. So
Yep.
That's how we've always won. We're going to take this last question. It's the last question in my list here anyway, and it's from a really, really close friend of mine, John Lindner, who's at The Goods, and that's his nickname, The Goods. And he asks a joking question. He says, Steven, you have so much knowledge about games. When are you going to try your hand as a designer? Between Ignacy's love of cookies and Steven's love of beers, I think you guys can come up with something really cool. I mean, who doesn't like beer and cookies? And he said, joking aside, Steven, you should really try to design a game. I'm like, and I always say, John, Goods, my buddy Goods, I'm not smart enough to be a designer. I'm smart enough to know what a great design is, though. So I'm not designing any games, at least not anything serious. I'll consult, as I have done, and that makes me happy to help other people along, sort of like as developing. Thank you,
Perfect.
The Goods. Appreciate it. And let's get over to our play testing segment. All right, here in play testing, we have a question by me this time, and I'm going to ask Ignacy and all of you out there, what will be your first major trip in our post-pandemic world? Will it be to see family, and who? To do a driving vacation, and where? To do a big destination vacation, and where? To go to a game convention, and which one? So, vacation or holiday, as some of the Europeans like to call it, they could be considered the game conventions. But so I got specific there. If it's a game convention, say that one. And I just wanted to know, Ignacy, what's going to be your first big trip that you're going to take?
For me, it is a very special occasion because in 2013, I said it in many interviews. In 2013, I was on vacation with my family, Mary and kids. And for the whole vacation, 2 weeks, I was designing a game because we had a deadline and I had to finish. So instead of having fun with my kids and helping Mary, I was just sitting in the hotel room and playtesting and designing a game. And after this vacation, my wife Mary very wisely said, "You are not going to vacation with us anymore because you're a jerk." And for the past 10 years, I was not doing the vacation with my family because I'm a workaholic and it makes no sense whatsoever. And this year we are celebrating this stupid COVID go home, and I'm getting my family for vacation. So it will be like a huge thing for us that day is finally, having shorts, being on the beach and doing this family style thing. So yes, we are going for vacation this summer for me for the first time in years.
And where is it?
Mary is a surprise, so I have no clue.
Really? You're just going to show up, so to speak.
I said that it's time for me to act like that. And yes, I said, I'm going whatever you want.
And you don't even know where it is yet.
I hope it's not far away.
That's great. Well, as you know, I've talked about it. I've already gotten out there. So
you already are traveling, right?
I'm already there. So in my thing, I'm already, Las Vegas was my first big trip. And then after that, it's Napa Valley, California, where I've never been and I've always wanted to go. And now with my new love of wines, that's like the, Mecca, certainly for American wine. So I can't wait to get out there. So right now, Ignacy is going to create a thread on Board Game Geek with this question. Where are you going to go on your first major trip? And we'll give you those kind of examples there. Is it seeing family, who, driving vacation and where, big destination vacation where, or getting out to a game convention? And which one are you going to go to first? So go over to our guild on Board Game Geek and find the playtesting thread with this question and post your answer.
Playtesting 199.
199. There it is. I know, right? It's wow. When you type 200 next week, it's going to be amazing. In the meantime, let's go to the final scoring. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. And to answer our question to you for our playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us there on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, which are /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, get up to the minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. Social media, you speak directly to Steven and Ignacy. On Twitter, it's @PortalGamesUS and @Podfather Gaming. It's the same on Instagram. And the YouTube channels are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. We hope to see you very soon at an upcoming convention. They're starting up. Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. And if you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Ignacy, I get to say something that nobody else knows, and you can see it right down there. And you don't even
see it.
I don't think
I'm super happy.
I don't even think you know about this. Do you know this?
Now I know.
The Podfather will co-host $1 Million Script launch party at Gen Con. $1 Million Script, which I have right here behind me. I'm not even sure Ignacy's ever seen the game. Ignacy, I have a copy right there behind me. And Luke Otnofsky, you're a US guy. We talk about him all the time. He's an amazing, wonderful guy. Had lunch with him last week, 2 weeks ago. And he invited me to co-host the launch party for $1 Million Script, which is a party game, a team party game, where two teams are pitching their idea for a movie to the executive. Guess who's going to play the executive? That would be me. I'll be the executive. The designer of the game is an actual Hollywood director. He's really director, Daniel Stam. He wanted me to be the executive. I'm good with that. He's going to be on one team. I've invited a bunch of podcasters. Nobody's name is in stone yet. You know all the podcasters that I know and love. I've been getting some of them to give me a tentative yes. And we'll have two teams pitching games, and the as they pitching movies, and the executive basically then throws like weird things in there, like, I want my niece in there, so make sure you have a part for my niece. Crazy things like that. So I'm looking forward to hamming it up. Everybody who I'm getting is going to be a real big ham. It should be just a lot of fun to do this. This is going to be Thursday night of Gen Con at 7 p.m. Probably one of those halls that's right outside the exhibitor hall, that's where they usually throw those events. Exciting. And by the way, this does not mean I'm coming out of retirement. Ignacy and Portal Games is not paying me for this, though they should. No, I don't want any money.
We appreciate that. And I need this event to be recorded because it will be super funny and I will not be there. I need somebody with the camera to record it. Oh my God.
You absolutely have to remind me. I'm gonna run my camera. We have to do this. So by the way, it's not only going to be us playing, then after we play the game for an audience, then the audience, whatever it is, 10, 15 tables, whatever is going to be in there, they're going to play the game. Awesome. So it's going to be just silly fun from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Thursday night, first night of Gen Con. And that's it. We'll talk to you next week, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Take care.